Everybody good? Yeah. Good evening. It's time to call the March 7th, 2023 Warrick County Board of Education meeting to order. The first order of business we have is the Pledge of Allegiance. And tonight I'm going to ask Mr. Armstrong to lead us. He's here every time and has never had that pleasure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Okay, now we are to approval of agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay, we do have a couple of under routine business. Number 2, there's no resignations or leave of absences. Under number 3, employment, we have a name in for the cook custodian. We have a name in for the preschool special needs teacher. And under number 4, we have a name struck from the bus operators. And under new business, we have no volunteers or chaperones. And that looks like it. Anybody see anything I missed? I think that's it. Any questions about those changes or the agenda in general? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. We have no recognitions this evening, I don't believe. Nobody's here. So we're down to information. Mr. McAllen.
So first under information is a nonprofit group called Game Changers that the governor has partnered with. And you may have seen some billboards along the interstate. This is the One Pill Can Kill campaign.
Thank you.
So with this, this organization has put together a very nice video that I'm going to share a portion with you this evening. So just to cue this up and to share information with folks watching the board meeting out there, fentanyl is a problem not only across the country, but particularly in West Virginia. And the governor is working with this Game Changer organization to bring awareness of this to school systems and to parents alike. And that is the crux of what this video is about. So it's a fairly long video. I'm only going to play about 10 minutes of it. But I think it's going to be very informational for you as a board and for our teachers and parents.
I'm Brad Paisley, and I'm a Game Changer.
Game Changer is absolutely going to lead this state forward.
I'm Joe Manchin, and I'm a Game Changer.
I'm Shelley Moore Capito, and I'm a Game Changer.
It's time to make a difference here in West Virginia. I'm a Game Changer.
Game Changer is a student-powered substance misuse prevention group. We're working in West Virginia schools to prevent opioid and other drug use before it starts and empower young Mountaineers to make healthy choices and live drug-free lifestyles.
Become a Game Changer so that we can make a difference with young people that will help us all in our society in the future.
I'm a Game Changer. We can defeat this cause.
The kids in this state, let's absolutely grab that rope together and run across the finish line.
The opioid crisis came in 3 waves. More than 2 decades ago, the first wave. Big drug companies started pushing out stronger and stronger addictive pain pills, getting hundreds of thousands of Americans irrevocably hooked, and hijacking people's lives. When the prescription crackdown finally came, the second wave hit. People struggling with addiction were forced to turn to the street, where heroin was cheaper than black market pharmaceuticals. But compared to prescribed pills, heroin was unpredictable and dangerous. Many lost their lives. Now, the third wave is cresting. The crisis has taken a new, even darker turn with the advent of a synthetic opioid 50 times stronger than heroin. It's called fentanyl. It's a stone cold killer, and it's ending up in everything. I've spent a lot of my life in West Virginia, playing basketball at WVU, cheering my sister on the court, and my brother on the football field. So I really care about the state, and especially young people coming up today. Maybe you've seen the billboards on the highway that say, "One pill can kill." It sounds scary, but I've got more questions than answers about what is going on with fentanyl in West Virginia. I've partnered with an amazing nonprofit called Game Changer and invited teenagers from all over the state to see what they know and what they want to know. Together, we're going to investigate why and how one pill can kill. All right, why don't we start out? Let's say your name, what school you attend, and an interesting fact about yourself. Kai, you want to start?
Yeah, my name's Kai. I'm from Honduras High School, and I play guitar.
I'm Caitlin. I'm from North Marion High School. I'm in theater, choir, speech and debate team. My name's Leah. I'm from Robert Seaburn High School, and I have 3 siblings.
My name's Jacob. I go to Scott High School. A fun fact about me is I've been in theater 4 years.
I'm Sierra. I go to Renton High, and I play roller derby, and I picked up guitar recently.
Hello, I'm Lindsay. I go to Bridgeport Middle, and I play soccer there. I'm Caden. I go to Milton, and I play sports.
I'm Tristan Hornbuckle, and I go to Renton High School, and I do basketball track.
My name is Annabelle, and I go to Fairmont Catholic, and I like to play soccer.
Awesome. Okay, so before I forget, what I want you guys to do with this little piece of paper is write down the name of someone in your life that you love the most. I want to find out what you guys are curious about and really dig into the root of this fentanyl problem. Can you guys raise your hand if you've been personally affected by the opioid crisis? Wow.
I have a lot of friends that I know that struggle with addiction, and I try to sympathize with them. A lot of them like to fight it because it's really depressing.
Addiction is something that's always been prevalent in my mind. It's something I know about because it's something my family's struggles with a lot historically.
I have a friend, his dad overdosed and actually did die because he had something that was laced with just a tiny bit of fentanyl.
And this is very tough stuff. We want to create a safe space here for this conversation, so if at any point you feel uncomfortable, please feel free to just step away, and that's okay. Now, Annabelle and Lindsay, you two are in middle school, so that's a different environment.
I have heard about it, but no one in my school has what they're doing. Yeah, I heard about it too. I didn't see that.
I wouldn't imagine middle school that it would be this big of a deal in high school, but I can tell you guys right now it will.
A lot of freshmen will do that and start vaping and stuff like that and experimenting with that just because they want to fit in with the high school crowd.
Peer pressure looks a lot different than what people make it out to be. It's not more like a, hey, do this, but it's being around all those people. And that's what the peer pressure is. No one's forcing you to do it, but it's fitting in.
Right now, trying to fit in could be deadly because of a recent crisis of counterfeit pills that look like regular medicine but contain fentanyl. Would you guys be able to recognize the difference between a real pill and a fake pill?
No.
Well, let's try it out. Take one of these cards, each one of you. Alright, so who thinks they have a pill that is real?
I don't even know what color it's supposed to be. Like, I don't know what it's supposed to look like.
Who thinks they have one that's fake? Okay, well, let's flip it over. And actually, the even number on the back of your card, you actually have the real pills. The fake or the odds. Let's look again at the odds. Would you have ever imagined that that is not a real pill?
This just looks like a regular like Advil ibuprofen I would take.
It would be really easy to slip in something that was laced and you would be none the wiser.
So what kind of questions do you guys have?
Why are people just out here like creating, and how are they creating stuff like this?
How likely would it be that I would get something that was fake? Like, how quick would I get something that was fake?
We're taking those questions to an expert, a drug chemist at the DEA, whose job is to analyze fake pills when they are seized as evidence. When did you first start seeing more fake tablets?
I would say probably in the last 3 or 4 years we've started to see certainly an influx of them.
So what exactly goes into a fake pill?
So we'll find fentanyl, plus there's binders to keep everything together, there's tints, there's dyes. There will also sometimes be other drugs in addition to fentanyl.
When you are going through your testing, how often do you see tablets that contain a fatal dose?
The fatal dose is considered 2 milligrams. It's an average. So I would say that you have 10 tablets in your hand, maybe 6 of them are concentrated. Sometimes it's 4 times as much. And you have to come to a laboratory like this to have any kind of indication.
You wear the protective gear. Have you ever been exposed and had a serious incident?
Actually, I have. A few years ago, there was a laboratory accident on some of the equipment that I was working on, and I had fentanyl and heroin, and it was shot into my right eye. First thing that went through my mind, my God, I made a mistake, and my wife is going to be heartbroken. And I was rushed to the hospital. I was in the hospital all day. The respiratory alarms kept going off despite the treatments they were giving me. The scientists that are analyzing the fake tablets that are out there, they're wearing the heavy masks, they're wearing the gloves, and they're suffering injuries as well. And that's when they have everything working in their favor, let alone someone that's taking a fake pill.
That's incredible.
We see fentanyl in a lot of different types of drugs. It's been identified in vapes. It's been identified in cocaine. It's been identified in amphetamine. We also see it in Adderall type tablets, benzodiazepines. That's like Xanax. So as we talk about this today, 2 weeks later it could be something different. 6 weeks later it could be something different. The thing that doesn't change, it's the unknown. You would never knowingly put something in your mouth, say from a food product that came from a questionable source, or that mayonnaise and a cheese sandwich has been sitting outside for a week at a park bench. Never do that.
How likely is anything that someone would buy that they would get something fake?
If it's not from a pharmacist, it's not worth the risk.
So I'm going to give you each a plate and a packet of sugar. And I want you to put the amount of sugar, if it were fentanyl, how much would be in a lethal dose? All right, Annabelle, let's take a look at your plate. Aiden, that might be too much. Sierra, that's a lot of fentanyl, I think. So it turns out, if sugar were fentanyl, it only takes 14 grams for a lethal dose.
One of my best friends last year, she overdosed on fentanyl. She went to the bathroom and she passed out on the floor. And that's when I went to use the restroom and I found her. And then she was in the hospital for like a week.
I'm sorry that you had to witness that. And this plays into exactly why we're here. We're learning.
This goes on and covers a whole lot more ground, but I think the pertinent points that I wanted to bring forth, I think we have covered, in that this fentanyl is 50 times more powerful than heroin, and a very, very minuscule amount is a fatal dose. And so it's important that we educate parents and educate kids that if you didn't get it from the pharmacist, it's very, very dangerous for you to be taking pills from somebody, because many of them, that source said perhaps 6 out of 10 could be fake, or 40%. Either way, we're going to be putting forth and showing this in developmental guidance to kids. And then there's information, one of the handouts for parents I shared with you, and share that with parents. This is something that everybody needs to be made aware of. And this was shown to us a while at a meeting not too long ago. I wanted to share a portion of this with you as board members. And then we're going to be putting this information out for developmental guidance groups to share with teachers and to share with students. So any questions or comments about that?
Are we sending this home to students, the flyer?
Yeah, there's a couple flyers that we will send home to parents, and we will put some information on our websites and share it with social media as well.
Sounds good.
You know, I might even just throw it out there, maybe at an assembly or something, like at the middle school. I mean, where you just get everybody together, get all the students together, and maybe have somebody that's been through it, come and give a speech, something to think about.
Sure.
And I think this really should be sort of at the top of the list. I hate this stuff.
Yeah.
I like the Constitution. And this is designed to kill, not to get high. It is, a lot of times on the media you'll hear somebody overdosed on it. It ain't overdosed. It is designed to kill that person who took it.
Well, and they're making the things look like just benign prescription pills.
Right. And it said on there, what stood out to me, 14 grains of sugar is lethal.
Well, and they've got, on the handout that I gave you, they've got a blown up sharpened pencil, and that little speck of stuff on the pencil is the amount. Any other questions or comments on this?
Go for it.
Okay, so next under information, I have one more item to share with you. So, as you well know, we are soon going to be posting and filling our special ed / federal programs director position due to Angie D'Amico's June 30th retirement. And before we do that, I want to bring to you for your consideration that we look at those positions and look at the salary of those director positions and look at possibly indexing those. So to put some numbers with this and to bring this to you, if you look at the middle of this, this is the base salary if we just have a sitting building principal in one of our schools. If they have a master's plus 45 and 19 years experience, okay, you can see what their salary is. The 240 contract, then the state increment and index that they get, and then the county index that we have given principals. That would bring the salary of a sitting principal to $85,198.44. So if that building principal bid on the special ed / federal programs director position, it's a 261-day contract, but there is no state increment for that, and there is no county index for that. Okay, there is a $3,000 supplement for the alternative education portion of that, and likewise with the other support service attendance director position, there's a $3,000 supplement for the attendance director portion of that. But even with that $3,000, that salary comes to $76,797.75. So if we had a sitting principal bid on that job, moving from a principalship to a board office director position, they would lose $8,400, have to take an $8,400 pay cut to do that. So I called around and spoke to other board offices. Wood County does a 23% index. Roane County does 20%. To make up for this, because in the funding formula, principals get an index with their salary calculation, and central office employees do not. So, and Mrs. Cummings broke out the 3-ring binder of salary classifications of years past, and I think we dug into it years ago. The director positions at the board office did have a 23% index until the era of Pam came when she was here, and she had an assistant superintendent under her instead of a director, and I think it had its own salary classification. And then I believe Mr. Toman was there, and you were an assistant superintendent for a period of time. And then when Mr. Metz was superintendent, I think you didn't have any directors for a period of time. And when the directors got brought back, Angie's position and then the attendance director / support service, when those were brought back, we didn't put that index back in there. So I'm just bringing this to you as information this evening for you to think about. But I will tell you, if we don't do something to make this at least a lateral move from a principal to our board office position, we're going to have a hard time filling that, because a sitting principal isn't going to take an $8,000 pay cut to go do that. So if we redid that with the index of 23%, you can see what that would be there. It would be raise the salary to around $90,771, which is, and that's with the $3,000 county supplement out. I would like to remove those from those positions and just do a straight index to make up for the discrepancy in salary. So again, most central offices around are doing that at the 20 to 23%, just so that a move to a director position is at least a lateral and not a decrease in salary to move to that. So food for thought. I will bring this back to you as an action item at the next board meeting, but I wanted to put this out here and let you think about it. And thank you, Mrs. Cummings, for crunching some numbers and putting some numbers in there so that they can see what it looks like.
What would be the difference between having a higher county index versus having that same amount of money in a county supplement? Does that, if the bottom dollar is the same, does that affect our budget in any way?
I think in my mind, years ago, when Mr. Metz was superintendent, the attendance director, Mr. Heine, was the principal at the high school, and he picked that up, and it was an extra duty contract, and it was for $3,000 at some point in time. So when that shifted, they shifted that dollar amount with it. But I would rather get away from that, and because that's in their job description that they do those duties anyway, and they just get a straight salary calculation. Same way with alternative ed. I think Angie picked that up at some point in time, and they moved that supplement with her when she picked up alternative ed. But again, instead of giving them an extra supplement for the duties that are in their job description anyway, I would just rather do a straight salary calculation. So, Mrs. Cummings, do you have any thoughts on that?
Bottom line is that with a supplement, it's a fixed amount, so it's finite, and so it's only changed if there's board action to change it from year to year. Whereas with a percentage like this index, you know, if the state gives a raise, then you're going to get 23% more on top of that. Whereas if it was just an index, the state gives a raise, well, you're going to get that plus your $3,000. So to the employee, it's more beneficial to do the index over time. So I don't know if that answers your question or not.
So then with the index, we're accounting for future inflation, cost of living, and things that would automatically update. Is that the benefit?
No.
To the employee?
Not
as a
particularly.
percentage versus a set amount of the supplement?
The supplement is set regardless.
Okay. So then the percent index then, if there was a base pay raise, the percentage would then also increase. Not the percentage number, but the numeric percentage calculation, correct?
Correct, yes, because this 23%, it's based on the state's calculated amount for this base salary, and then on top of that, then it's 23% more. Just like with our principals right now, they get 15% index, so then it's 15%, whatever all of this calculates out to be for the state, then they get 15% more. So they get a little bit more if the state gives a pay raise, versus if it had just been a fixed supplement over time.
Okay. And then also, Mr. McCown, do for other school districts, people that have this position, is it a normal career progression for principals to compete for those positions as opposed to a director later becoming a principal? What's the standard?
Most directors at the central office were building principals at some point in time and then worked their way up the food chain, yes.
Okay, John, what I'm hearing, okay, another thing about supplement, a lot of, I'm not sure how it is now, but I know how it was before, that if I have a supplement, I have a separate contract for that. It's a separate bid. Did away with that and doing that because we used to do that. I remember the attendance director was a separate bid. Okay, you took that job and you got that money, and I think we stopped that after I was attendance director, and then Mr. Heine followed me. I think that's how it went, and then it went into his actual contract. It was in his contract. So what I'm hearing is that the jobs that they have, such as Angie, alternative ed, such as Jeff, and I'm using names, but those positions, not the people, but the positions, they're going to keep those. You're not going to farm those out to other people or put those out on contracts.
I think we would abolish those supplements, and then they would, instead of that supplement, the index percentage would give them the gap in pay. Because they shouldn't get, this is my opinion, $1 will get you a cup of coffee at McDonald's, but that supplement is tied to specific job responsibilities.
Yes,
so attendance director, alternative ed director, but those things fall under the umbrella of their job duties in that director position anyway. So it would make sense to me to abolish that supplement and rip and transfer, and then for the upcoming school year, and then make up for that with this index, and that would fill in the salary gap instead of that.
The index will be for that job, but we will not be posting out or bidding out for, they're not going to lose any duties. They're going to keep the duties that they have, I guess is the easiest way to say it. Okay. Karen, did you do any figuring to make that closer to that principal's salary, to the 85,198? What would get it close? What percentage would get it close to that, or maybe a little above that?
close to the 15%, you mean?
Yeah.
Or what, no.
Or to the actual salary, not to the...
No, I did not do that. Basically, I dug through some old records because I knew I could remember seeing that at one point in time there was a central office index. So I went all the way, I like ransacked that whole building. And I found it, and it was back in 1990 is when I found it, and it was at 23% is what the professional directorship indexes were at the board office. And somewhere between there and the year 2000, it was eliminated, and then they just had only assistant superintendents for a stated amount. And then in 2012, that policy was abolished. Then we didn't have any board office directors. It was pretty bare over there. So then as we've started in hiring, then as a way to compensate for additional duties, supplements were stated, and that's actually a separate salary schedule that we maintain with all the supplements on it. And like if you'll recall, like we actually have a supplement for FFA because at one point we had a teacher who tried to resign FFA duties. So no, you're part of your job posting.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So it's part of your job posting that you're going to do FFA, and we're going to compensate you $1,200. You can't resign from it. So that's where those supplements started from.
I can't remember when you came back to us. Did we index yours? We did, didn't we?
No, mine's actually just a supplement.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we indexed.
No.
How come you let me do that, non-index it?
I was just glad to be back.
Yeah. Okay. John, have we taken a look at raising our principals to 261s?
We've had some discussion, Mrs. Cummings and myself, about that, but
yeah.
I'm not directly opposed to considering that.
Because, salaries are always a hot topic this time of year, with budget season coming onto place. And so, they always look at principalships, and different places do things different ways. I mean, usually elementary might be a lower contract term, and then it kind of progresses up more for middle school. And then I've even seen the high schools at 261s. So, and we've had all of those discussions. But as far as calculations for any of those, I haven't done any of those, but I can do anything that you want. I mean, if you want to see any of those calculations, I'm more than happy to do that.
Well, if we took principals to 261, what it does is actually make that
even
greater.
Greater.
That disparity bigger, but I'm not sure what it would do to. I mean, most of the counties around us, the principals are working on 261. Even in the elementary now, are working on 261 contracts. And assistant principals are working on 240 contracts. Could you figure that out for us? If we took our principals to 261 and our assistants to 240?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cost increase.
Yeah.
Yes, I can do that.
And what it would take then to keep the program directors above that.
Okay.
Yeah, when I went to the board office, I was principal at the middle school, and when I went to the board office, I took a pay cut to go to the board office. But it was the progression in my career that I wanted to take. I made less as an assistant superintendent than I made as a principal. But
yeah, we can bring that back next time.
Take a look at.
Any
other comments,
questions?
guys?
The only thing that comes to mind is, I'm always concerned about our income versus the budget. can we afford what we want to do? You know, we can say it'd be nice to make that much.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, your point is relevant because with each of these, any type of indexes that we do,
It's our
any
money.
extended contracts, it's professional. So the state only funds for a 200-day contract for these positions. Whereas if it had been like a service personnel, they'll fund for it. But, you know, of course, we're always limited by that enrollment factor and how many they think that we actually need. So yeah, your point is very valid. So as of right now, yes, we can. Evaluations have held, and we'll discuss that here in just a little bit. But so yes, so right now we're doing well for it.
Well, if we're going to open up, we must well take a look at it across the board. If
Yeah.
we're open up and going to take a look at directors' salaries, and I think also part of that is to take a look at our principals' salaries. Because honestly, the principal, that principal of the high school, middle, primary, all three of them have, I mean, you look at duties, they work, you know, they have as many duties and have as much, what's the word I want to use?
Responsibility.
Yes, thank you, Mr. McCowan. I was struggling for the word. They have, as those directors do. I mean, you know, it's different, but they really do. I mean, there's no job like a principal.
Right.
I mean, when it comes to responsibilities.
They earn every penny.
Every
That's
penny.
true.
Yeah, and in that 1990 salary schedule that I found, they even had it to where it was based on enrollment sizes, so there were different indexes for each of the principals.
They had
But then they finally eliminated that because each principal, they're all worth 15%. Yeah, they have, each one has a very unique set of issues that they deal with within their building, so they decided each was equal.
Yeah,
in that index.
when I was principal at Newark, I didn't have a very big index because I only had
Small
100
enrollment.
kids. But then when the middle school opened up and we had, 500 kids in middle school at that time, my index went with that, okay, because it broke into those categories. It paid more
Yeah,
money.
the highest was 23.5%.
I'd like to see the figures. I mean, if we do anything when we're not, I'd like to see the figures.
Okay. I can do that.
Yep. Happy to do that.
Ms. Cummings, is there a certain amount of lead time that you need if we were to make a decision to make everything hit the check marks?
As far as getting it calculated for you?
No, so if the board decides to, hey, we'd like to make these changes, how much lead time would we need to?
Well, we're going to have to post the position and have it filled and bring through board action before June 30th. And so as folks are putting in bids after we post this, one of the questions they're likely to ask is, what is my salary going to be? And so really, I would like to have this concluded if we're going to do it so that when they ask that question, we've got an accurate answer for them.
So
ideally, it'd be nice if we could come to some type of consensus if it was going to affect next year's budget before I had to present the budget in May. I do that generally the second board meeting in May.
Okay, so if you present in May, and then are we talking April that the lead time to get that ready?
The first part of May.
Yeah, next board meeting. Well, this is one of those times we have several weeks here before next board meeting,
Yeah, it's
right?
not till the 28th.
Yep.
Next board meeting is March 28th.
It can get on the agenda so we can have that discussion and either do it or table it and move it to the next one if we don't feel we have enough information. And that will give you time to do that. I'm sorry, Karen, more work during break week.
It's okay. It's all good.
And, but you're not on the index, okay? I don't know if we need to do anything with that or not.
Well, I've got, and I didn't copy this off, but this is, I can share this with the next time what everybody's got. Everybody is through supplement or whatever is pretty much in the same place except for the director position. So she's got it broken down with what folks have.
Can I take a picture of that?
Yeah.
Anybody else is welcome to, too.
I just didn't think to make copies of that for everybody, but I'm happy to let anybody see it.
Okay, so it'll be on the next agenda, and we'll discuss it out and see what we can do. Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, we have no delegations tonight, so we're down to approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the February 28th, 2023 regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Any questions, corrections, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to accept the February 28th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, down to finance. Need a motion to approve payment of invoices in the amount of $69,899.96.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
Okay.
If anybody else wants to see this, we'll pass it around. You want to see it?
So for your consideration this evening, we have 3 runs of expenditures. The first on 3/1/2023 in the amount of $901.41. This is PEIA premiums. Also, the next run on 3/1/2023 in the amount of $54,466.26. This is travelers insurance, workers' comp premium, WV Board of Risk premium, liability premiums. And then finally, also on 3/1/2023 in the amount of $14,532.29. This is instructional supplies. So the 3 runs of expenditures total, $69,899.96.
Any questions, comments? Ms. Cummins, anything you wish to add? No? Questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $69,899.96. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we're no budget transfers, so we're down to the budget supplements. Need a motion to approve the budget supplements in the amount of $300.
So moved.
John?
So one budget supplement in the amount of $300. This is a grant for the 2022 Teacher of the Year for classroom supplies.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the budget supplements for $300. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, we down need a motion for the extension service for the fiscal year 24 budget of $10,000.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
So that was in your packet. This is what we have traditionally done with the extension service. You can see the breakdown of that. We've got program assistant, $6,000, office supplies, $2,000, utilities, $1,500, maintenance and repair, $500, for the total of $10,000. This is what we have traditionally set aside for the extension service.
Any questions, comments? And I think Mark sits on that board. That's the one you sit on, right, Mark? Yeah. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the extension service FY24 budget in the amount of $10,000. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, now we need a motion to approve the schedule of proposed levy rates.
So moved.
This is probably Karen Cummins, right?
This is Cummings. Tagging you in.
On the schedule proposed, we just received the actual assessed valuations today. So I've been calculating all afternoon trying to get all of that figured out. The general current expense levy, those rates are all determined by the state and they remain unchanged, starting out at 19.4 cents per $100 in valuations. So those rates stand the same as they did, for the past umpteen years now. The state legislature has not changed those. On the excess levy, our excess levy call actually permits 20.66 cents per $100 in assessed valuations. But I did the calculation per our levy call, and the growth that there is in the assessed valuations is going to cause that to exceed 4%. So I had to roll the levy rates back so that we will not exceed 4% growth. So instead of a 20.66 cent in valuations, it's going to be 20.28 cents in valuations. So instead of a 90% levy, it's going to be about an 88% levy is what we're looking at. So collections, collectively, between the general and the excess levy, we're looking at about $3.2 million. And that's an increase of about $275,000 over last year. That's the general and the excess together. And then once again, if the general part goes up, the state simply keeps about, they keep 85% of it, and we only get to keep 15%. They call that local share. So of the increase in the general fund, we will actually see about $22,000 of that increase. On the excess levy, though, it's going to go up about $128,000 in collections, and we get to keep all of it, dollar for dollar. So in total, we're looking at about $3.2 million in your scheduled proposed levy rates. This meeting is to stand in recess, I believe is the proper terminology. We'll come back the third Tuesday in April. I've got to send this stuff down to the tax department. They'll look at all my calculations, make sure they're correct, and then we'll officially agree upon what the rate schedules will be then come April. But this is the proposed rates.
Questions for Mrs. Cummins or Mr. McCown?
Glad values went up.
Yeah, that's better than the.
So assessed valuations are up about almost $23 million. Assessed values countywide, and the biggest majority of that, according to Mr. Wilson, is in public utilities. The conversation I had this afternoon, trying to figure out where it all went to or came from.
Okay. Questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the schedule of proposed levy rates. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, next one is one of those little quirks in the state code where every year we have to appoint Karen Cummins as our treasurer. So we'll accept a motion to appoint Karen Cummins as treasurer of Worth County Schools.
So moved.
Any questions or comments? Karen's saying no, no, no. Here are no questions or comments. We have a motion to appoint Karen Cummins as our treasurer for Worth County Schools. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Glad to have you again. I remember when the chief financial, Mark will too, when the sheriff was our treasurer, that he signed all the checks and everything. Carol Menifee was the chief financial officer, but the sheriff put all our deposits and everything. Yeah. Okay, we're down to personnel. Under employment, we need a motion to approve Philip Nemeth as Cook 3, Custodian 3 at Worth County High School, effective March 8th, 2023.
So moved.
Mr. McCowan.
He was the successful bidder on this position and has successfully completed all required testing. So with your approval, he will start tomorrow.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Philip Nemeth as Cook 3, Custodian 3 at Worth County High School, effective March 8th, 2023. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, need a motion to approve Morgan Roberts as pre-K special needs teacher at Worth County Primary Center, effective for the 23-24 school year.
So moved.
Mr. McCallum.
She was the successful bidder for this and is picked up the pre-K special needs practices and is fully certified for this position. So be moving from third grade into this vacancy at the beginning of next year.
Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Morgan Roberts as pre-K special needs teacher at Worth County Primary Center effective 23-24 school year. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. And now we need a motion to approve Jennifer Boyce as special education teacher at Worth County Middle School. We're changing, or Mr. McCallum is asking us to change the effective date to March 20th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. McCallum.
So we had a retired teacher and a long-term sub that had been in there all year. So I originally asked you to make the effective date next year, and that teacher would have finished out the year to have had consistency with those kids. But the teacher that is in there can no longer stay in that position due to personal circumstances. This week is going to be their last week in there. So I am asking you to change the effective date so that Jennifer would start into this position after spring break.
Any questions or comments? I will say we appreciate that retired teacher doing that and staying in there because it was a lifesaver for us and these students. Okay, no questions. We have a motion to approve Jennifer Boyce as special education teacher at Worth County Middle School. The change is to the effective date to March 20th, 2023. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, let's see. We have need a motion to approve Lance Sims as substitute bus operator pending the completion of his certification.
So moved.
Any questions or comments? Mr. McCallum first.
Yeah, his information was in your packet. We did have two. You noticed that one is struck. If you read, there was a letter in there asking us to remove the other name. So just an explanation of why that is. Happy to get another substitute bus driver trained and on the roster. So bringing that to you for your consideration tonight.
Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve Lance Sims as substitute bus operator pending the completion of his certification. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, now we're down to new business, and we need to authorize an assistant softball coach for Worth County Middle School. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. McCallum, there's a little bit different on this.
So yeah, this one is a little bit different. So if you read Mrs. Hickman's request, we've got, and I talked to her today, we may be up to 29 girls have gone out for softball. So typically we have had a paid coach, a paid assistant coach, but when programs get big, sometimes, and I will give you another instance where the board has approved this, high school volleyball has approved a second coach, but the volleyball program fundraises and pays for that salary out of their own coffers. So this is what Mrs. Hickman is asking you to approve this evening, an additional assistant middle school softball coach, but the softball program would be contingent to provide the funding for that coach. So this is a lot of girls. Typically, you've got one of the coaches on the first base coach, one on the third. This would allow another person to be in the dugout with the rest of those kiddos. And if you can imagine, like 22
middle school
kids in the dugout, it wouldn't be a bad thing to have another adult there. So, and again, this would be contingent on softball paying for this additional coach.
Any questions? What is that figure? I saw it there somewhere.
It is $864 of the coaching salary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
864. Is there any matches or anything to go with that, Karen?
Matches in terms
Social
of,
Security,
yes,
that type
all
of
of
stuff.
the
Okay.
normal fringes go with it if they're an
Yeah,
employee.
so it'll actually be more than that.
Yeah, it'll be Social Security, workers' comp, and if they're our full-time employee, retirement comes out on that too, so.
Yeah, I've got a question about this one. Is there any way that this could be funded the way the other coaches are funded so that that coach isn't dependent on fundraisers? My fear is that we get them in this position and then they don't make as much at the car wash. Is there a way that we could fund this position the way the other coaches are funded?
Well, the issue with that is if you did that and the board just picked it up, then everybody would be coming to you and asking for an additional coach. And so this kind of puts the burden onto them to be able to fund that. I think Mrs. Hickman seemed pretty confident that they would be able to do that. If we just paid for everybody to get an extra coach, there would be no end to the stream of folks coming to the board and asking them for additional coaches. Them having to be able to come up with the funds kind of limits how many of those you're going to have.
Yeah, the one for volleyball has been in place now 15 years? Yeah, long time. Yeah, that they pay for that third, fourth, I'm not sure what it is, but third coach, I think. I mean, they've done that forever, so.
Is that position approved annually, or is it from now on, or how?
If you approve it, it will just be worded contingent upon funding. But yeah, the volleyball has been there. They've not had a problem swinging the finances of it.
Yeah, and by code, we have to pay, you can't pay it less because it has to be paid one. Whatever assistant coach is paid. It doesn't matter what the funding source, it has to be that amount of money. They can't do it for $50. Even if they agree to it, still has to be equitable.
How many coaching positions like that do we have that are funded through?
I believe only the high school volleyball.
So there's only one other?
Yeah.
To my knowledge, yes.
So then is it that big of a risk if we fund this position the way we fund other assistant coaches?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
if you do it, there would be one right now, but there would be everybody would come Oliver Twist style, asking for a little more, please.
As they should.
As they should.
Yeah, your football, your high school football, middle school girls basketball, boys basketball, high school boys basketball, high school girls basketball, middle school wrestling, high school softball, track. Yeah. And as they should. I mean, if we pay for an extra coach, it'd be nice to do, but I don't think we can do it. What does a high school assistant coach make? Do you know, Karen? That's an unfair question.
I don't know right off the top of my head.
Middle school makes the 8.
More than the
I think
800.
it's an even thousand, if memory serves me right.
That sounds right.
So. Okay, any other questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve I'm sorry. I already shifted down page. To approve an assistant softball coach, Worth County Middle School, paid for by the program. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, down to open enrollment. Need a motion to approve one child from Wood County to Worth County.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve one child from Wood to Worth. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. And the motion to approve the questionnaire survey of student policy.
So moved.
Mr. McKellen.
As per discussion at the last board meeting, we made the two changes, if you recall. We added a provision under 1.2, surveys will be made available for review at the board office upon request. We added a provision under section 3 that said students conducting surveys as part of a school project or assignment need prior approval from the classroom teacher and building principal before conducting the survey. With those two additions, we put the policy back up for comment for an additional 10-day period. There were no additional comments during that time, so I'm bringing this back to you for the board to approve that policy this evening.
Very good. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the questionnaire survey of students policy. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, down to board concerns, and we'll start with Mr. Stewart tonight.
Since we're talking about middle school softball, about the field, is it approved yet for practice?
So, my understanding is that we presented Mr. Villers with the lease some time ago. My understanding is he has cold feet in signing it. So, he has not signed the lease.
Okay.
So, and I'm not sure if he's going to. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
That's the question I had.
Is that time of year, huh? Mr. Lowe, anything?
No, that was it.
Okay. Mr. Sherlock.
Yeah, so when we were discussing salaries, and I know it's hard to guess what will happen down at the state, but it looks like there will be an increase for our teachers. Now, is there any plan, or is there anything that looks like there will be increases for the non-teacher staff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that
it's same.
That it'll be the same. They call it a 5% raise, but if they did it like last time, they kind of calculated what the average of 5% would be, and then for service, and then for professional. The issue is that I think nearly all of that is going to be offset by the PEIA premium increase. So it's a raise in name only, because I think all of it, or practically all of it, is going to be taken up with insurance.
A raise in gross, but not net.
Not a real raise.
Yep.
What it looked like, what they passed out was not even a 5%. It was $2,300 across the board.
Well, that's what they called 5% last time.
So, but it'll be 23. It doesn't matter where you sit on the salary scale, it'll be 23. And some of the insurance will run more than 23. So, yeah.
Did you say that was for professional and service?
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
That was it. I just wanted to.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we were considering our service personnel when we're looking at also at our professional staff, teachers.
I should have looked this up before I came, but I wanted to congratulate our wrestlers.
Yeah.
I know we had a few placed at states, and as a team, I think we placed third.
Yeah.
I think that's correct, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's great considering there was
Yes.
only 5 went down there.
And we were young, so that was,
We were ranked 9 and
Yeah.
took third, so we did very well.
yeah, quite the accomplishment.
So I may try to have them, if they can come in next board meeting, try to have them in.
Okay. Those regional meetings, they sent out stuff on it. Kathy, if you could, there wasn't a registered place you could register, though. I didn't see. It just had the dates and stuff. Kathy, I'd like to go to the one in Charleston on 5/6/23. If you could get me registered for that, please. Karen, can I ask you, or I'll ask Mr. McCallum because he's your boss, not me. Could we get, If we were to provide an extra assistant coach to all of to the sports, both high school and middle school, can we get a figure on what that would cost us?
We can do that.
Including, if you would, Karen, or as best as you can with matches, not just, because sometimes the match is what makes you not be able to do it, not the salary. It's how much you have to pay and other stuff that throws it over top that you can't do it. Just a lump sum if we was to give all of those sports. Yeah. Yeah.
You're just talking about one, correct?
One extra. One more assistant. Per sport.
Per sport that doesn't already have it, like not including the volleyball?
No, we'd have to do volleyball or we'd be reversing.
Okay. So,
yeah.
All right.
No, they wouldn't. If the board picked up the coach and
every assistant coach that is now.
Yeah, we wouldn't approve them having the paid of their own coach.
Does that include
that would come to us. Huh?
Is that one considered a coach?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't think is there currently an assistant?
I'm sorry,
Is
Mr.
there currently I don't think there was for esports.
Yeah.
Dan, we used to wrestle locally, and it looked to me like they almost had a coach for every kid.
Well,
probably did.
I'm afraid that we might, I used the word afraid. Don't take me wrong, okay? But it seems like we might be getting there with volunteer coaches, okay? So if we can alleviate some of that and be able to do it with a paid coach that, has responsibilities to the school, it might be something to look at. It might be exorbitant. It might be something that we can't touch, but it might be something that we might be able to do.
We can look at it and decide it's not feasible.
Yeah.
But if we have the numbers, it makes it easier to determine if we can do the right thing.
The reason I'm going to throw up is because I'm jealous.
There you go. Okay, let's see. Anything else? The middle school sent all board members a email. If you haven't read that email, you need to read it. Okay. With that being said, I will entertain a motion for recess.
So moved.
So we have a motion for recess. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Karen, do we need to state the day for the recess? We don't, do we? It's just we're in recess till that happens. Okay. On adjournment, you don't have to ask for yays and nays because it is assumed everybody's going to vote yay. But on a recess, you do. Okay. Thank you.